Alright guys, we are back again. In this lecture, we are going to start our Android application. Simply let me just click here on the bottom. This is the icon of my Android Studio. I'm beginning my Android Studio. Let me refresh a bit. So it's loading now. Let me pause the video until it finishes to load. So the project is loading. This is my previous project I have been working on, but for our case we have to create a new project called Food Menu App. So the project is still refreshing, as you see here. Let us wait the whole IDE and it finishes to refresh and it finishes to load all the plugins, and then we proceed. Okay, now Android Studio has finished loading, and if you've ever worked on any project in Android Studio, it brings the previous project. So this is my previous project. So since this is not the project which we are going to work on, we have to create a new project. Simply come here on the top left corner, click on File, New, then New Project. So when you click on New Project, this pop-up will come, and then you assign your application name or the project name, the name you are wishing, or the app name, an amazing app name you wish. So since our case it is Food App Menu, we are not going to change the name. So here on the company domain, we have to provide what we call the package name. They changed this name, but the company domain is the same as the package name. For those people who have ever done some coding in Java, in other IDEs, for example like Eclipse, they are familiar to this. So the company domain name has to be unique, because if you are going to make an application which has to be uploaded on Google Play Store, and we find that you find that you've made a package name which has the same name with the application which is already existing on Google Play, they will not allow you to publish the app. So you have to ensure that the name you have provided here is too unique. So let us try to provide a unique name, and we say Food App Yugi. It has to be in small letters. Food App Yugi .menu.com. I'm quite sure that this name is not existing. Here, this is the project location. Make sure that you locate your project very well. Do not locate it in the C partition, because your machine might get a problem, and then you get issues of getting the project again. So to get rid of that, make sure that you locate your project in a safe partition. Here down we see include C++ support. For example, some developers have also a tendency of including C++. By the way, C++ can also develop good Android applications, and it has amazing plugins. So if your company, or if you are having a passion of C++, or if you already have some good knowledge about C++, you can check this checkbox. But for us, we are not going to use C++. And another message which we have to know, that since Google has made Kotlin as its official language when it comes to Android development, you have to also learn Kotlin because it's the official language. But the good thing which they made, that since Kotlin has been put in place, there is something which is called interoperability. Interoperability means that Kotlin has the capability of sharing its code with Java. So you can have a project when it is having both Java files and Kotlin files. So we don't need to get scared that Kotlin will erase Java. I'm not quite sure about that, but what makes me confident is that since they added this platform of interoperability, it means that you can either stay with your Java alongside Kotlin. And I'm quite sure that in the long run, they are going to make Kotlin cutting across. So I'm not going to take this because Kotlin is not going to be in this lecture. So click next. After clicking next, here they'll show you these things here. There's phone and tablet, there's Wear, there's TV, Android Auto, Android things. Let me just give you a clue about this. We are going to concentrate on phone and tablet, but let us also know about this. Currently, there are also watches which are Android based. When I mean by Android based, they have OS on them made of Android. So you can also think of a good idea which can suit an Android watch. Developers who develop Android applications on watches or Android wearables, they come here and they tick this one and they be able to develop for them. There is also another amazing thing in the industry or in the current domain of technology. You can be able to develop for TVs, televisions. There are Android televisions. You can think of an amazing application which you can develop for televisions. You can also go as much as Android Auto. Most especially the vehicles and cars do have some Android devices inside them. For example, these Google navigators, Google Map navigators. A person can be in a car and he navigates on a Google Map on a certain device. So these the cars which are being made currently, most especially in the Europe and in the Western world, they have this capability. They have some Android Auto devices inside them. So all these devices need developers, and most especially these developers who do know Android, to come up with amazing things. Android things, I'm not sure about this. You can make research about that. So since we are going to concentrate about phone and tablet, make sure that you check the Android version. You target the Android version, but for our case, let us leave it as default. Click next. After clicking next, let me choose empty activity, but you can choose any of these activities, but for our case, we are going to use empty activities. So there are lots of activities here. There's basic, there's bottom navigation activity. You can use, I tend to use this one, navigation drawer activity. There's settings, there's scroll activity, there's tabbed activity. They are all good activities and they are good for beginners to explore and they see how the designs are. So we are going to go in for an empty activity. After pressing that, let us press next. We leave the rest as default and then we press finish. So I have paused the video. So after loading your application, it will look like this. So we have just finished to create our new application. So on the left section or on the left panel of your IDE, there are a couple of folders which you are seen here. There is app, inside app, there is manifest, there is Java, there is res. We are going to be playing around in manifest, Java, and res, of course, but it's not going to be quite difficult. So since this is our mobile application, I don't know what is happening. My speech is a bit slow. Okay, this is the main activity which we are going to be playing around. And when you look at this main activity, we have public class main activity extends app compat activity. In this method, in this class, we have this method called onCreate. So onCreate method allows us to set our screen, let us call it a screen, or our form, which is going to be visible on the mobile app. And the screen which is going to be visible on the mobile app, it is set from here, set content view. Content view means the content which is going to be set on the screen holded by this class main activity. So you can press Ctrl on your machine and you try to hover over this word. You will see this line and click. When you click, they will show you this screen which is going to be shown on your mobile app when you run this machine. So let us end from here. We have just created our mobile app. Then we are going to see on how to wire up our JSON API inside this mobile app. We are going to make a simple list which is going to connect to the JSON we've made to come inside our mobile app. Let us stop from here. We meet in the next lecture.